The torpedo bat topic, it's going to bring out the hypocrisy in all of us, because when I heard about the New York Yankees, by the way, just blasting the ball. I mean, they pummeled the Brewers in the opening series of the season, and then we're hearing all of this torpedo bat talk.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell is a torpedo bat? And it looks like a torpedo. I mean, it's a very original name, so good for them. Then rolling my eyes at it because it's the Yankees. And if the Dodgers were using it, it pissed me off too, because I don't think the Yankees and Dodgers need any more kind of one-up on everybody else. But then last night, I hear that Elly Cruz, who I think had an okay performance, he was using the torpedo bat. And now I'm a fan of the torpedo bat. And I think, is it safe to say now you are a fan of the torpedo bat? Is that where we're at right now?
Yeah, when you sent the rundown for the show this morning, we had the torpedo bat segment, and I said, oh, thank God we didn't do the torpedo bat segment yesterday, because I would have been banging the table for it to be banned, and every player that uses it should probably be suspended 80 games, just like PEDs. But now that Elly is sending, 2 balls into the river at night using this, weird-looking bat, it might be the best invention ever for baseball. Complete 180, and I'm glad over the last 48 hours or so, I've been able to see all the best arguments from the pro side, and now that I'm on that side, I'll just use them here. So, I mean, we all watch baseball for runs anyway, right? The most fun summer we had was the juice ball summer, and everyone was sending balls to the moon, and now we got bats that look weird, but they work the same way. So I don't know how this is a negative for baseball if it hits, all the rules. Yeah. If it's legal in terms of the metrics of the bat and the size of the barrel and everything along those lines, which for everything that I've heard it is, and that's, seems fine by me. So let's do it as long as the Reds keep using them.
Again, I don't think – I said the Brewers' pitching staff has been woeful to start this season. So I do think there's a mix of that going on. That's why this whole conversation started, because the Yankees hit 9 home runs in a game. And that is of concern. I mean, certainly if you're Major League Baseball, you're like, how did that happen? I just think it might be the Brewers' pitching staff stinks. I think that plays a part of it. And when you're getting blown out, obviously you're not going to have your best guys in there, and they're going to give up. It's kind of what you saw last night. Right, it's easier to get hits in a 10-0 game because the other team's given up at that point. So I'm not too overly concerned about this torpedo bat thing. I just think if it helps a guy out and it's legal and it's within the rules, then that's great for them. That's great. I don't know how people haven't come up with this before. I don't know why this hasn't always been a thing. But clearly, I think that it can help some guys and it doesn't help others. We already mentioned it. Jose Trevino is not one of the world's greatest hitters, right? He uses a torpedo bat. Aaron Judge might be the greatest hitter. He does not use a torpedo bat. So that's kind of what we're saying here, right? I don't think it matters that much. Elly Cruz, if I give him a wooden stick and he says, go ahead and hit this ball, he's going to hit it 450 feet. That's what he's going to do, whether or not it has a bigger barrel or not. Elly Cruz is that good. Aaron Judge, same deal. Good baseball players are going to overcome whatever the barrel thing is or the torpedo bat thing is, regardless. So I'm not overly concerned about it. I'm hoping baseball doesn't kill this just because they think it's an uptick in home runs. This has been in Major League Baseball for longer than this year. People are just noticing it because the Milwaukee Brewers gave up 9 home runs in a game. That's why.
This might be a Brewers problem.
Correct. And
the Royals went crazy yesterday,
The Royals scored 11 on the Brewers yesterday. Aaron Judge hit, and this is why it all came out, because he hit 3 home runs. Aaron Judge does not use it. Aaron Judge does not use the torpedo bat, and they're like, "Oh,
I think
well,
only
the Yankees
3 Yankees do."
So that's why I think this is a complete overreaction. I don't think anybody who's talking about the torpedo barrel, I don't think they really even understand what it is. I don't really understand what it is. And for those that it helps, great. If not, stick with the regular bat. It's a player preference, and it's perfectly legal within the rules. There is no reason to get upset about this. And if Major League Baseball does something to ban it, that's just a shame, because it's not affecting games like they think it is.
Trevino said, I think yesterday in the pre or post game, that he had used the torpedo bat going back to the time that he was with the Yankees, and that him and Stanton were the only ones that used the torpedo bat last season when he was there. And it's a funny point. You brought up the fact that those who are hitting home runs with it, it's like, is it the bat? But then when you bring up the fact that Trevino uses it, and I don't see an uptick in Trevino, so
that's what we're saying. That's what I'm saying. I think that if you want to overreact to it, I think Jay in the chat, 10 out of 14 games went over yesterday. Opening day similar. That could just be a baseball thing. I don't know how all these things work.
It is weird because it's cooler.
Let's just bet the overs.
or we can just bet the over. So
usually it's a lot of. I mean, we don't usually see a lot of overs early in the season because of the cooler temperatures.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit of a surprise as well. But again, is this barrel related? I mean, years ago we were blaming the ball, the juice ball. Now we're on to torpedo bats, and last decade it was the juiced players. So we're always blaming something.
If this keeps up and the home run total is just astronomical all year long for all 30 teams, do they bring back sticky stuff?
Let's just bring all the cheating elements to the table and see.
Listen,
Let Jurickson Profar play.
Yeah,
Juice players,
he's doing it the
juice
right
baseballs.
it would make Noelvi Marte great.
That's true. That's true.
Again,
Damn cheeseburger.
if everybody is playing by the same rules, it's not cheating. So
Correct.
Tell that to Barry Bonds.
If you don't like if you don't like seeing an uptick in home runs, I think that might be a you problem. It's not a major league problem because I think runs are better for the sport. I think runs are more exciting. It's cooler to see bat flips. It's cooler to see balls that go 465 feet. That's what's cool about baseball. And to do something that would potentially take away from that, nonsense. In my eyes.
This article on ESPN, Aaron Leanhardt. He's a former physics professor at the University of Michigan. So that's a great university to go to have a former, obviously, professor come in and speak on why something is not cheating. Michigan has mastered the art of convincing you that cheating is not cheating, so I found that rich, to be honest. But Aaron Leanhardt is a former physics professor at the University of Michigan who is being credited with the design. Shocker. He says it's about the batter, not the bat, going to Elliott's point right here. And Reds first-year manager Terry Francona agrees. Terry Francona says, I think it's more the player than the bat. I said that before the game, and I still believe that. De La Cruz spoke with the reporters after the win and was asked about his bat choice and whether the 3-0 Yankees, at the time influenced his decision. He just said no, it's because of how it feels in his hand. So it's just a more comfortable bat as far as that goes in the explanation there. But the torpedo model, it's a striking design in which wood is moved lower down the barrel after the label and shapes the end a little like a bowling pin. And of course, became the talk of Major League Baseball after the Yankees, as you guys mentioned, just torpedoed the Brewers. But then we saw the Brewers against the Royals get shellacked by them as well.
Yeah,
so.
And here's the good news. If you don't like the barrel bat and you think it's cheating, go out and use it. You can go use the barrel bat because everybody else is doing it. You might as well get on the train.
That's right. All the bet companies that I've seen are starting selling their own. So I assume that's going to go really, really well for them.
Really well.
All right. And by the way, that is the thing too. Like, will baseball act on this? Like I feel like they always panic because they have a history of these major cheating scandals, and like football, there's always weird stuff in football and basketball, but I do feel like baseball, because of all the cheating scandals, when stuff like this happens, they get uneasy and they got to feel like they got to get ahead of it a little bit. I don't think this is something they have to get ahead of. If anything, lean into it. And by the way, if this is cheating and your team's opting not to use a legal bat, because technically if it's cheating, it's still a legal bat, why aren't you using it either? It just doesn't make any sense to me. So everyone should use it, and we'll see. Over under 3 Reds batters tonight. We saw Elly and we saw Trevino use it. Will Matt McClain, a different Red.
I think Lux used it as well.
Did he use it?
I think so.
It doesn't make sense to not use it. I don't. Again, I agree with what you said. I said it before. It is the player. It's not the bat.
Yeah.
If I am wrong and it is the bat, there's no reason to not use it.
Correct.
So at least try it out, I guess. It would be my thing. At least try it out. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I don't care. Then go back to your normal bat. But I will say it was fun watching Elly De La Cruz hit 2 missiles yesterday and admiring them greatly. I mean, he hit it was the chair out in the dead center field. So
Can we get Matt one?
I'll give them all one.
Let's
they can
get
all
Matt
have
one.
one.
Might as well try.
It's not an issue to me. But I don't baseball. I don't think they should zero in on this yet. If the home runs continue, like what Jay said in the chat, if the home runs continue to skyrocket, maybe we'll take a look. But other than that, it could just be bad pitching this year. This is always when pitchers start warming up. This is always when nobody's going deep into games. Usually outside of Brady Singer. Shout out to Brady Singer. But usually this is all they're just warm up time. And I'm not going to overly get myself concerned with the torpedo thing 4 games in.
Yeah, right after the Royals on April 3rd, the Reds face the Brewers in Milwaukee. So I'm sure their pitching will be figured out by then.
Always.
Almost certainly.
I would bet a lot of money in it.
Speaking of pitching.
It would be fun if it wasn't, though.
Yeah, it would be.
You mentioned him, Brady Singer. What a performance last night. I know we highlighted it. the fact that we've talked Reds for almost over an hour and are just now getting to Brady Singer, I think it's one of those where we're very impressed with the outing. It was the biggest. By the way, this is the biggest offseason acquisition outside of Terry Francona. I think that's safe to say. I like Lux and I like Hayes and I like some of the others, but I think this was probably one of the more stabilizing pieces that the Reds added in the offseason. And I still think it was an underwhelming not underwhelming, it was an underappreciated one, because when we think about the Reds pitching staff, we talk about the fact that they gave the qualifying offer that was accepted to Nick Martinez for $21 or $22.5 million. You already have Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo. I'm not saying that Brady Singer is an afterthought, but he's definitely not right now after that performance yesterday. I thought it was interesting having him be fourth in this rotation, and I think he's going to keep moving up in that rotation if he continues to pitch like that. I don't want to overreact to one game, but that was a hell of a game, and that's something that I feel like I felt pretty good about the Reds rotation coming in. Even without Brady Singer, I still like the Reds rotation with the healthy Andrew Abbott nonetheless. But the fact that you don't have Andrew Abbott, and this is the type of production you're still getting from your 1, 2, 3, and 4 starters. We're going to see Spires for the first time tonight. 7 innings, giving up 0 runs on 1 hit, striking out 8, only walking 2. What a performance last night. If this is who the Reds are going to have, I don't expect 7 innings of dominant stuff like that. But good for the Reds for having a guy like this that they can go to on their 4th day, into a season like that. I think that's pretty impressive. The Reds haven't had this kind of depth in their rotation in quite some time.
Since the last time they were good, it feels like, since the 2012 era. And, obviously, anytime you have a scoreless outing, 7 innings, 8 Ks, that's going to be impressive against anybody. This Rangers lineup won a World Series 2 years ago. I mean, I know it's not the same team. I know they missed the playoffs last year. But when you go down and it's Marcus Semien, Corey Seager, Wyatt Langford, who was, the 3rd pick in the draft 2 years ago and most won Rookie of the Year last year. I mean, Adolis Garcia started off this season so hot. Like, this is a lineup that makes that stat line even more impressive. And for him to do it his first outing here in Cincinnati, I think that goes back to kind of what we were saying about opening day. The first time you see a guy, first impression, you're going to stick with that for a long time. And I think Reds fans are going to be really excited about Brady Singer, at least for, another month or so. This probably buys him 2 or 3 starts of pure excitement from this fan base. So it's great to see. He's a guy that was going to be held to a very, very high standard here in Cincinnati because of how the fan base viewed Jonathan India. They loved him more often than not. And I think that's going to, or was going to be held against Brady Singer, during the beginning of his tenure here, especially if India started well in Kansas City. But, 7 scoreless innings and 8 Ks will make you forget about that pretty quick. I mean, that's as good of an addition as you could ask for a player like India, and he's obviously proving already that it was a good move, and he's a crucial piece of this team. Yeah,
Brady Singer, again, had a good spring. How much you want to put in spring training, I don't care. 5 games, he had a 2.5 ERA, and 17.2 innings of work. So I think this guy could be. I'm trying to give everybody a different. Like, Hunter Green is by far the ace. Nick Lodolo, I would say, Nick Martinez could be the glue that holds everybody together because he needs to be solid. He needs to be versatile. So he could be the glue. I don't know what Nick Lodolo is yet. I'm trying to work on one for Brady Singer. But Brady Singer is really, really important to this team. Jonathan India, say whatever you want about the guy. I loved him. I thought he gave his all to Cincinnati. Though those feelings, I don't know if they were reciprocated as well as I would have liked to see. I think Brady Singer is going to get those feelings of that reciprocation, and the Reds fan base is going to love him. Absolutely love him. The video that they played again last night on the broadcast, where he over Christmas he paid off his parents' house. That's awesome. Like that guy's somebody you can root for, and I'm happy that he's here in Cincinnati. He looked dominant. He looked absolutely dominant. I know it gets a little bit easier when you're up 25-0, but saying that, giving up 1 hit in your first start as starting pitching for the Reds, I'm pretty impressed with Brady Singer.
We talked about the rotation, the best they've had in a while. That 2020 one wasn't bad. When you have Sonny Gray and you have Luis Castillo and you have, of course, Trevor Bauer, who won a Cy Young that year, obviously a truncated 60-game COVID season. But very strong, heavy up top, 1, 2, and 3. Got a little weaker on the back end. I think
if that team would have scored 1 run in the playoffs, maybe I'd remember them. But the donut in 2 games, I also don't count 2020. Yeah,
I know that's not probably popular for some.
Neither do I, because the Dodgers won, because I do count the NBA one because LeBron does need that 4th ring. Yeah,
fair. We haven't seen that type of fight from LeBron since he was whooping Stephen A's behind on the sideline.
2020 had our only Cy Young, so
That's
that's,
right.
what we're talking about.
That's right. I guess we do have to be in a that was real season camp.
That we have to be in that.
Yeah,
real,
okay.
Real regular season.
Yeah,
Just
that's
you know,
right.
Or at
Everyone
least,
played 60 games.
yeah. There you go. All right, Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers, Chatterbox Sports on YouTube, ESPN 1410, Wing AM in Dayton. A debate we had a little bit ago about Spencer Steer because we really don't truly understand we know where the injury is. It's in his shoulder. But, like, there was talks of him being on the IL to close out spring training and to start the season, and then all of a sudden we're hearing he's going to DH in Dayton in that, that celebration game, 25 years, celebrating the Dayton Dragons. I wasn't a fan of that. I'm like, if he's injured, why risk anything further? Like, get it evaluated, get the surgery done. I don't even know what's wrong with him, but the bottom line is he's been DHing from opening day on. Finally got his first hit last night. Don't really know what to make of this. Is he still capable of hitting at the level we've seen him hit in previous years? And, of course, between his hitting ability and his availability, that's been his biggest strength over the last couple. That's something we've also talked about on this show. But if he is going to be limited to strictly a DH role the rest of the way, is he good enough to just be a full-time DH for this team moving forward? Is this roster deep enough for them to be able to have that luxury? I don't think that it is. Casey, right now with the results in the chat or in the chat poll we put in there is Elly, is Spencer Steer good enough to be the Reds' full-time DH moving forward? What's the poll numbers look like right now?
With 66 votes in total, there is 41% that say yes, that he is good enough to be the full-time DH on this team. The other 60% now is saying no, that he's not good enough to be full-time DH. So the current split is 40-60, 40 yes, 60% no.
You said no, Jake. You said no?
I did.
Uh-oh, was your mic not on for that?
Sorry.
Was it April Fool's Day?
April Fools.
Got
Is it
him.
April Fool's, or is the
Got
chat
him.
doing it, or is Casey doing it?
April
No,
Fools.
that was my bad. I muted my mic. But it's 60 no, 40 yes.
How many votes?
68.
68 votes.
Cool. We'll keep track of that throughout. If you do us a favor, please hit the like button for those watching right now. And if you're not watching, please head to YouTube, like and subscribe to Chatterbox Sports on YouTube, whether it's Off the Bench, Chatterbox Reds, Chatterbox Bengals, Chatterbox Bearcats coming up because they play today, right, at Final Four?
The historic crown.
Oh, no, the Crown.
There's a lot of games that get played in April for basketball, and when you think down the list, obviously it's there's a lot of forgetful stuff, and then the historic crown in Vegas that obviously you can gamble on, right?
Tomorrow or tonight's starters again. It's Nathan Eovaldi taking on Carson Spires. Carson Spires in 4 games this spring posted a 2.57 ERA. He looked very good for what it's worth. I'm not a big Carson Spires, should be our 5th starter, but he did look good. So if Carson Spires can give us, what he kind of gave us last year, which
He showed us some last year too.
he showed us a little bit
He looked all right.
to be start of it. And then
Well,
tailed off.
This is
end.
the start of his 2025.
If he can do as good as he did at the start, like this start, then we're good.
Then we'll be good.
If he pitches like he did at the end of the year, probably not so much. But Carson Spires again, starter number 5 for the Reds this season against the Rangers, in a clinching game, which they need to win because they don't do well during the rubber match either.
No, they don't.